Hey, got probably a little bit of a short one going on for this week here. This is a TwoSun 536 Santoku, and I actually have written on the inside that this is using 10Cr15MoV steel, which, if you're not familiar, that's kind of around their equivalent, or at least their attempt at an equivalent of VG10. So, all right. Here we are with Le Knife. You can see it basically has mostly vertical Damascus cladding sort of things going on there. Same on the back. So not super crazy teardrop kind of looks or anything like that, but still very much nice. I have actually scratched it a little bit. That's fine. That doesn't affect anything as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, we got a G10 handle that I apparently still have some crap on from when I finished using it. There we go. Alright, so yeah, you can see that this is basically forged. Something that, obviously isn't quite the case with these style knives is this isn't, super uber full tang. Now, basically, what I can tell between the balance and everything like that is that it does have a pretty decent tang in there. It's probably a rat tail tang that kind of goes to the back here, and then this end piece. I don't think you call it a pommel on a kitchen knife, but hey, that's what it is on a sword. So that's what I'm gonna go with. Is basically either attached, or in a lot of cases, if they did actually have a screw tap on the tang, then this would actually be kind of screwed in and then, glued in or Loctited in or what have you. So if you do see those kinds of knives that just have the steel disc there on the end, just know that it's not fully considered to be a full tang. Doesn't really make any difference though, so there you go. This guy's using G10. Just standard black. Nice and smooth. There's obviously no fit and finish issues kind of going on there. The shoulders on this guy are pretty much spot on. You can see maybe just a little tiny bit extra on the right side there. But as far as actually affecting it in a pinch grip, nah, it's super comfortable. Like, I guess if you really wanted to use it with a left hand, for those lefties out there, they are ambidextrous, which is nice because I know a lot of the Shun knives that kind of have this same kind of handle look to them. They are not. They have kind of a weird D or tear shape handle to them that's basically designed so that they're all right-handed knives, which is that's a little annoying. But yeah, I mean the G10 is perfectly fine on it. Nothing wrong there. It does kind of lack a little bit of texture that you do kind of get out of a natural wood or a stabilized wood kind of thing. But that's perfectly fine. They're much more durable. Yeah, this thing should be basically the standard Santoku size. It's a little bit shy, which I kind of thought it would be. So yeah, this is like a 6.5 inch rather than a full 7-inch Santoku, which they've done with quite a few of those. And those are kind of sticking with a little bit more traditional Japanese sized Santokus, which, yeah, it's perfectly fine. For me, I do actually prefer the full 7 inches. I'm not a size queen or anything. I'm sorry. It's just much more convenient if I'm trying to get through something a little bit larger. Head of cabbage, melon, blah, 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 or whatever. I like as much length and reach as I can get that my cutting board will allow without having to bust out the enormous one that I have, and that tops out at around 8 inches. So for me, having a full 7-inch Santoku rather than 6.5 is a little bit more of an advantage. But yeah, you can see it does have that curve there, so you can do the whole rock chop there. It is, as most Santokus are, more subtle than a chef's knife. Like, you're not really going to be going crazy there. Santokus, a lot like Nakiri knives, are, or at least were, originally designed for much more of a chop. Not the whole thing right there that will end up shaking the camera. But yeah, there's not a whole lot else to really say about this guy, other than the blade geometry on this thing is quite nice. It's served me well while I was using it over the last week or so. And the only thing I really missed was just having a little bit more length there. But that's just because I'm used to a little bit more of the westernized versions of the Santokus that are a little bit longer. This guy is a little bit lighter than a lot of the western side ones. You can see the balance point here is pretty darn spot on. It will basically, when you use that pinch grip, it's pretty much balanced there. I mean, you have your finger balanced right behind the bolster there, but doesn't really affect things one way or the other. I do like that this guy has a pretty decent oval shape to him, so it is, used by righties and lefties alike, and that obviously it has a little bit more of the European forged kind of look to them, so it has that bolster that I find to be quite a bit more comfortable to use than the stick tang that a lot of traditional Japanese knives use. And I also do like that they've taken that whole idea that some companies have done. I know Henkel's and Wusthof, their bolsters actually come out to the heel. In, a lot of cases, the whole 4-star, Pro S, blah, 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 their main bread and butter kind of things going on there. And that's cool until you sharpen it a few times and realize you got a giant fat hunk of steel in the back here that needs to be taken care of. Generally speaking, since these Santokus are all kind of newer ones, even Henkel's and Wusthof don't really have that, but on a standard chef's knife, they do. And some other companies out there started kind of grinding it so that bolster stays at the handle and doesn't go down to the heel. It makes it much easier to sharpen. Messermeister was one of the first ones that I had noticed, but there's probably a lot of others, since that's not my enormous wheelbase of knowledge. But those were the first manufacturers that I was familiar with who did a lot of that sort of stuff. So this guy holds up pretty well. The steel is probably just a little bit softer than you'd get out of a Shun that uses the VG10. It doesn't feel soft by any stretch of the imagination, but it does need a little bit more stropping or using the steel on it to kind of keep that edge that's there. I haven't lost the edge, but I have had to realign it a couple of times. But there you go. It's a really nice kitchen knife, especially if you do like kind of the smaller size of Santokus going on there. So yeah, next week I think I'm going to be taking a look at another 8-inch chef's knife instead. I do kind of like to spread things out a little bit. This one is rather new. It was one of the most recent ones that I got in. I think it's the TS536 which is pretty cool. It's well, I have it upstairs so that I have it available for me to use whenever I'm cutting things up now. But yeah, it's a lot like their 14C28N series. Same kind of size and shape and whatnot, but it does use the Damascus cladding sort of VG10 stuff on there instead of 14C28N. Really attractive piece, but we'll see how it stacks up. All right, well, that's everything kind of I got to go on. This one's a pretty simple, straightforward knife. It's pretty darn good for the price. As always, that I would say with it, if you are kind of looking to pick one of these up on eBay, I probably wouldn't throw more than $40 down on them, just because, for slightly more than that, you can pick up kind of their higher end 14C28N series. But I'm certainly not sad to have this in my collection. It's great. Fit and finish is great. Cutting geometry is perfectly fine on him. And yeah, you can see you can develop some micro scratches on there. This was basically me having like a carrot or something like that, and that I drug on the side of a ceramic bowl. So that's mostly my fault for that. But yeah, the other nice thing about it is kind of as an afterthought here is the blade guard on it. Actually fits fully on there, so you don't need to worry about your tip sticking out or needing to use a little cap sort of thing. So if you don't have a block or a magnet set up for your knives, and yeah, a lot of people will probably say, well, that's irresponsible of you. Not necessarily if you have kids. It's much easier to keep those inside a drawer that has kind of those little childproof latches and whatnot. Just as an extra degree of security and keeps it nice and out of the way. And this is, perfectly safe for all of that to keep the blade nice and sharp. So I do like that. That is certainly a nice factor kind of going in there. A little bit of a freebie, but that's perfectly fine. So yeah, that's the TS536 Santoku. I do have the chef's knife of this as well that I will be taking a look at in a little bit. But yeah, like I said, I have a different chef's knife that I'm going to be taking a look at, probably followed by another Nakiri knife, because I have another couple of those that I want to take a look at. So, all right, that's what I got going on for you today. So, appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo. Subscribe.